What are your crimes, Mark? Yes, what are your crimes, Mark? Did you beat your wife? Did you kick up Huck? Well, find your crimes or make it up. Did you laugh at Hubbard? That's not nice, and now you'll have to pay a price. So what are your crimes, Mark? What have you done? Oh, it's too late now. Fair game's begun.
Hello to everyone who may have accidentally found this stream. I have had nothing but confusion as I've put this delightful program together for you. Tried doing a live stream from location earlier, and that did not work. I could see people were going, "Oh, I can't hear anything. Oh, it's frozen. Oh, where'd everybody go?" And I just gave up and said, all right, I'm going to cancel the stream. I'm going to just bring it home here. I just videotaped it on my phone. I brought it back here, so I'm ready to play it now. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Here at Xenu TV, we work miracles. They may not be instantaneous miracles. And they may not be the most amazing miracles, but by God, they're miracles. So, hey, I'm Mark Bunker, and welcome here to the intergalactic headquarters of Xenu TV, serving this entire sector of the galaxy, and broadcasting especially things that are relevant to our home planet of TGAC. And we're here in the capital city of TGAC, Clearwater, Florida. Kelly, of course, is being the consummate hostess, welcoming everybody. Nurse Lori is here. Good evening, all. Good evening to you. Matthew Faustini says, I sent an email to Mike from Largo. I'm the chair of the planning board. He at least responded and earned my respect that it wasn't a form letter. Your response on Easter. I'm assuming you're talking about sending an email to Mike Mannino, the councilman from the Clearwater Council, who was talking about the L. Ron Hubbard Hall tonight. And we're going to be taking a look at that. JB808 is here. Hey, JB808. Got to tell you, I used the gimbal to record this this video tonight. So thank you so much. The first time it's gone out in the field. Unfortunately, I should have done a test on doing a live stream because that did not work at all as I was trying to broadcast this live around 7 o'clock tonight from one of the main fire stations in Clearwater. This community group, which is a Clearwater neighborhood group, it encompasses all the various neighborhoods. They kind of, are all united in this one group, and they all have their own individual meetings as well throughout the city. But this one is kind of a united front to try to get every neighborhood working together. So Councilmember Mannino came to talk about the delightful sale of a block-long stretch of Garden Street to these folks. And I could see as I started to stream it, I could see people going, can't hear anything. Hey, is it frozen for you? Hey. And then the stream dropped and I tried starting it up again and still was disaster. So I said, Mark, you know what you should do? You should just dump this live stream stuff and just record the damn thing and put it up later tonight, which is exactly what I did. So I'm going to show you that tonight. Because I started it in the live stream, the first couple of minutes of Mike's comments are missing from this. But he was just kind of saying, hello, everybody. We're going to talk about this. So it didn't miss much. And yes, JB808, I'm so delighted that I had your gimbal there to make this possible. And the live stream, that's got something to do, I'm sure, with my my new cell phone system to see how I can get that working properly and do some more tests on that and get that ready. Let's see. So he spoke for about 45 minutes tonight. It was scheduled for half an hour, but there were people who wanted to ask questions. I got in a couple comments. They did not want to have me hog the whole thing, and I did not want to do that. There were some things that I wanted to ask. I would have loved to have had a little background on the meeting. You know, how where did Miscavige meet you? Where what was the setting? What was his demeanor? What was the conversation like? And what did you ask from him in exchange for this? And unfortunately, didn't get to ask most of that. But I think it's interesting to hear what he has to say. He is pretending that he hasn't made up his mind yet. I don't know. I don't know how I'll vote. I have a feeling I know how he's going to vote. You know, we'll play this sucker and see what you think. Tell you what, why don't we hop to it, shall we? As I said, this starts in mid-sentence. And I think you'll be able to pick up the context as I bring him up here onto the screen. Here we go. And let me present to you Councilmember Mike Mannino.
Don't work, okay? They don't work in the dark. They don't work under a veil of secrecy. They haven't worked behind closed doors for our city to this point, and it has to be in the sunshine, from the dais, in town hall meetings like this, and it has to be contractual binding agreements, signed, dated, with assurances of certainty. Now, anything can be challenged and you can go to court and fight over it, but you have to have those assurances and the certainties to even get to that level, or else you stand.
Yes, so it's incredibly important. These dealings with Scientology can't be behind closed doors, for God's sakes. They have to do this out in the open, like, of course, this council is doing, where nobody from Scientology has yet appeared to pitch this project or answer questions about this project. But we have supposed assurances that things are going to be fine. Oh, come on. You can do it.
You stand no choice. And here we are on this controversial as anything would be in our downtown district when it comes to our city of Clearwater and the Church of Scientology is South Barton Avenue. And in 2017, the city of Clearwater went into a land swapped property with the church so that they could have two full adjacent properties connecting to this South Garden piece. South Garden's in the middle, and they now own the full two pieces. Statutory laws allow them through development codes to then issue and go through the process of a vacation or right-of-way. Vacation or right-of-way is pretty common in our municipalities. It's nothing unique to Clearwater. Your Clearwater Beach was developed by a whole heck of a lot of right-of-ways. When developers buy chunks of property, there's often little roadways in between and in the way, and they have that right to ask for a vacation or right-of-way so they can put those properties together and create one development for the greater good or that thereof. 20.
Yeah, this is just like any other developer. You know, don't worry about a thing. They're just people here in Clearwater that need a break, people. Come on, you're treating them horribly.
17, after the property swap, church got their little piece on Fort Harrison and Court. City of Clearwater received its portion over of Nolan, which unfortunately I don't think we've done anything with as of now. That's a whole different issue. And they presented what they wanted in 2017 in a video at the time. It's changed as of today, but at the time in a video, presented that they wanted to build the L. Ron Hubbard Performing Arts Center. There was a small piece of park in the front of it. And it did show somewhat of a roadway, but South Garden wasn't in the same location. It wasn't South Garden anymore. It was a different type of valet drop-off kind of thing. So it changed. And that was part of the plan for them and for the city at the time in 2017. Fast forward today, 2025. So a year ago when we first, new council took office, there was already discussions before us between city leadership and the church on they wanted South Garden Avenue. Church leadership, elected officials kept saying, no, we need to see not just development, we need to see activation for the good of all the city. Church started working on 3 of its historic downtown properties, Telephone Building, People's Bank Building, World War Building. What I've been told is $16 million is being spent on the reconditioning and redevelopment of those 3 buildings. Telephone Building is pretty much complete. They will have hopefully a tenant from what I'm hearing hopefully soon. I don't know when. But we'll hope to have a tenant in there on the ground floor of some sort of restaurant, deli type of thing, and retail offices on the top. No institutional building on the bottom. Second building to be done, as I'm understanding, will be the Worldworth building. Looking for some sort of retail on the bottom. On the top, office space. People's Bank will be last on the corner. All 3, I did check before I came, all 3 of those properties are on LoopNet. LoopNet is the #1 listing for commercial real estate. LoopNet, you can currently look on there and see them. I did find them. I wanted to also see if there was prices or rent or what. None of the properties had that kind of stuff, so I couldn't see what's being, so I can't argue for or against that, but they are currently, but from what I'm told, within the next couple weeks, they hope they have an announcement of the activation of the Telephone Building, and that's that. With Garden, then.
Now, I'm just pausing here for a moment because, I realized I haven't played you the video pitch that Miscavige gave to all of these council members individually. Have you seen this yet? Aaron's had it up on his website. And I think it's an interesting thing to see. He's got both versions of it. The version that was presented to the council back in 2017 and the one that was shown to this council, which is the exact same video, except they tacked on the L. Ron Hubbard Hall at the opening of it. But then everything after that is identical to what it was back then. And, Miscavige had all these glorious plans for what he was going to do for downtown. And as Councilmember Albritton says, well, he desperately wants to have an active downtown for the Scientologists who come to town because he has to bus them to other areas. Well, he has not done a thing to activate the downtown for Scientologists in all these decades. And I do not think that we're going to see these glorious plans come to fruition, especially since there's been nothing in writing, no guarantees that he's going to come through with anything beyond these 3 buildings that he's refurbishing now. Now, if they had started on the movie theater entertainment complex that Miscavige and Tom Cruise were going to build together in downtown Clearwater, they've had that property all along. They could have done that. That would have been a good faith effort to show, yeah, we do care about the downtown, and we will make an effort to be partners with the city. Nothing. But let me see if I can share this video with you, and I No, I have done this in the past with no problems, but the last time I tried it, it failed miserably. So I'm going to give it another shot right now. We'll just take a look at this latest version of the video. I'm going to share this. I'm going to come over here and make that full screen. And let's start this up. I'm going to go back here. Oop, I have a feeling it's not up. Hold on. I got to put this, yep, I got to take him off of here. I'm getting there. Everybody, be patient. Old guy's doing this for the first time in a long time. So here we go. Hey, look at that. It's the video. So let me crank that sucker up. Oh, we're cooking now. Look at that glorious hall. Oh, it's so beautiful. And that dynamic music, look at that. Oh my God, the 21 precepts right there. And this is where it goes into exactly what they showed back in 2017. Oop. Oh, lovely new designs. Oh, can't wait for that steakhouse. He's been promising that steakhouse for 8 years now. Oh man, a family apparel store? Wow! New lighting. Woo-woo! New designs, and don't forget, new lighting. here's the nightclub. Oh, this is a beauty. World class. Yay, it's the theater. Oh, it's been ready for a recruitment of a developer since 2017. City incentives. Okay. Oh, what partners. What partners they will be. Oh, my Lord. How exciting. Hey, stop it. All right. So, there you have it. That's the brilliant future of downtown Clearwater. JB808, bartender, let me get a shot of B12. Let's see. Northern Girl says JB808, exactly. They don't want people there, so why spend the extra time drawing them into their plans? And Kelly, of course, is saying it's sad what they have already done to Clearwater. Let us take a moment to bow our heads and contemplate just what a disaster Scientology has been for Clearwater. But they're going to make it right now. Oh boy. Let's see. Yes, they own enough. They don't need any more. Well. And there's some of these things were brought up in the meeting. Somewhere were addressed that I don't think that was exactly the accurate thing that was being discussed here in the meeting. But let's get back to that. Let's go back to Mike. Put him back here on stage.
They came back and said, okay, look, we've got building and permits going here. This is what we're spending. Sure. How about a discussion of the vacation? Come
on, where are you? I said add you to
newly
state.
Elected said no, not enough. Somebody wanted, and I can't, for own name, I don't know who it was. Somebody said, please take down the old Tequila's building that's an eyesore on the corner of Court Street and Fort Harrison, the old Mexican restaurant. They moved Tequila's years ago. They own that. It was kind of dilapidating, falling apart. Those of you that go to and from the beach, it's hard to not see it across from our courthouse.
By the way, talking about eyesores, I don't know that the old Mexican restaurant there was that much of an eyesore compared to the rest of downtown. But yeah, God bless him for tearing down the old Mexican restaurant. Lordy. Hey, Bridge 1872 is joining us. Hello to you as well. We're having fun. We're watching Councilmember Mike Mannino give his pitch to the folks at the Clearwater Neighborhood Coalition. Well, let's get back to him.
Supposedly a week, 10 days later, Tequila's came down, landscape and some trees. I've been told that somewhere around $200,000 to $300,000. I don't know what the cost is. It's not about the money. It's more the actions of movement forward downtown. That was done. Church
God
came
bless
back
Scientology.
and asked the council, can we put this vacation a right of way through? And they have the ability and they put it through. Staff has to respond. That's their duty. Staff.
So Northern Gal is asking, let me just pull this up here. On a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think the chances are that one of the three will change their vote on selling the street to them? My initial reaction was 0. 0 chance. But David Albritton has made a post on Facebook that pretty much says, listen, I have told Scientology to come out and do this pitch. And if they're not coming forward, they probably won't have the votes they need. So he's kind of suggesting that he could change his vote. I don't, and Mike in this conversation tonight is saying, I don't know how I'm going to vote. Well, we saw the last meeting. I have a pretty good feeling that we know how Mike's going to vote on this. So it's just a matter of hopefully convincing David Albritton that they don't need the street. They can still build L. Ron Hubbard Hall without giving up the street, and I bring that up later in the meeting, talking about the fact that the plans they used to have, Garden Street was not part of it. It was still an active street. And he's saying, wow, no, it wasn't. No, you'll see that later. Spoilers. Sorry, I'm giving you spoilers.
Took the request, sat down with all of council and said, they've asked for the vacation of the right-of-way. Would you like me to enter discussions? And all 5 council members said, yes, let's see what a discussion looks like. Staff went away, read the charter, and the charter stipulates that because there's some sort of economic value to that road, we currently have car parking spaces on that road. We make anywhere from $25,000 to $30,000 a year in parking. So it does have, that road does have a value to it, and that's about what the value is. Sometimes lower, but no higher than 30. Because of that, the pathway the charter stipulates that you'd have to go is it cannot be vacated. It must have attached to it a real estate contract for an appraised value or a real estate swap, property swap, just like that happened in 2017. So two appraisals were done. 1.8 million, 940 some $1,000 came back as the highest and best use appraisal because the church owns both adjoining properties. The average price came out to 1.375. City manager came back to us, all of council, and said 1.375. Do you want to sell it to the church and vacate? All 5 council members said no. It's not about the money. It's about development and activation and acquisition for all the Clearwater citizens in somehow, somewhere. Should I continue any sort of negotiations? Council unanimously, all 5 said, you may proceed. Give her that leeway to move forward. She has to have that direction. All 5 gave her the leeway to move forward. So it's a dollar amount, yes, but, and the but is where council started coming off the rails and differing a little bit in the levels of assurances. What makes one happy and okay, I can live with that. Another one may not be. So city manager in navigating this difficult process of herding cats.
I would say this about the question of, are you cynical? No, I don't think you're cynical. I do think he's kind of hedging his bets here with this crowd because he knows I'm sitting right there in front of him. So, he's trying to be even-handed about it. Most of the people in the crowd, it was split. It was a split crowd. There's some people who are thinking, okay, what's so wrong about that? There are a lot of other people who are saying, no, don't do it. And we want the African American tribute there. We want that to happen on Garden Street. But I think he's, I think he's sharing what he feels he should share before going back and voting to give Scientology the street. And SK is saying something about David Albritton. He was on the Kelly show today with a Scientology spokesperson. Wow, seems pretty cozy up with and pro Scientology. Well, then I'd have to say, not having heard it, and Kelly's show is usually on YouTube, so we can take a look at it later. But if David's there with a Scientology spokesperson doing a public presentation, that's what David was asking for. So I would say that he's probably going to vote to give them the street. And I'd say this is a done deal. So is that Bridge? Is this the same show with Kelly where Sarah Heller was there? Sarah Heller, yeah, she's the bigwig for Scientology now, doing any of the high profile stuff. When Scientology's negotiating with the city manager, everything goes through Sarah Heller, and then Sarah gives it back to the chairman, and then the chairman says what he wants, and that is usually relayed to the city manager by Sarah Heller. Only occasionally will the city manager get to meet with Miss Cabbage. Let's see. So I'm going back here. So Bridge, here, for those who don't believe the Church of Scientology hasn't done any capital improvement for Clearwater's downtown, here's a website showing part of their plan to revitalize Cleveland. This video is just part of the larger plan. I'm assuming this is what they're talking about. Going east past Missouri Avenue, it is not at all like the video 8 years ago proposing a remodel of storefronts on the 400 and 500. So they did a different video. I personally saw that plan too. There is more to come. I'll be on WTAN AM 1340. Okay. So I'm assuming, so as I've been reading off of this, is this from something that David has posted on the internet? At any rate. Yeah. Well, I was kind of hoping that David would come around and vote no. I think this is a done deal at this point. But let's listen to Mike, and maybe after we listen to him talk, we'll realize just what a spectacular thing this is for the city of Clearwater. You never know. It could be spectacular.
I'll take at all five's assurances and what makes you comfortable to move forward with such a deal, and presented it to the church. And the church came back in a negotiation with city leadership and checked some things off, accepted some things, other things, and they got back to, what they were fine with, and Jennifer presented it to council, and council had the first reading and came back, and three votes were okay with the level of assurances, 2 wanted more. Remember, okay to that point, it's the assurances where we got off the rails. There wasn't enough assurances. So what's in the deal as we sit here today is probably what needs to make sure we understand, right? So the $1.375 million, which everybody said no, but it needs to be more assurances, that's attached to it. The assurances that are in writing, according to a site plan and according to the contract, is number one, the building has to be completed in development within a 5-year period, and it's not, the term in the contract isn't 5 years, it's actually a physical date. because we never know how long these processes take. We could take 6 months, 8 months, and all of a sudden now it's not 5 years, right? So it's an actual date. At the time of the first reading, it was about 5 years. They have 5 years to not only complete the development of the project, but to receive an occupancy license stating that they're ready for business. At that point that an occupancy license is issued is when that deed to the property would be transferred. They would just paying the money and signing a contract. They would not receive the deed to that property. South Garden Avenue would stay in possession of the city until the building's development is completed and the occupancy license was issued. The second assurance was thrown in only because if paid attention, if you're into construction and projects, especially capital projects, concrete's up 400%, rebar's up almost 400%. It's hard to find labor for big jobs. So that timetable in doing something, I've been told that their hopes are 2 years, 2.5 years with the unknowns and constructions and inflations. There was a little bit of an understanding of giving them, it's more than I was hoping for. I was somewhere in that 3.5, 4.5 year range. In negotiations, they came back with 5. So 5 years. They also have 2 1-year contingencies that they can purchase if after 5 years they're not completed for whatever reason and an occupancy license is not issued. For $300,000 on that first day after year 5, the charge is $300,000. They can purchase an extension. If they choose not to, the road's still ours. The deed never transfers, and the contract's null and void, right? $300,000. They then have, that's year 6. There's the actual date, not a year, but they have 1 more contingency for $300,000. They only have 2 options that they can purchase. An additional $300,000 if they needed that extra year. Safety net is kind of what was been said, but that's it. If it's not done after that, contract's null and void, deed returns back to the city, deed remains with the city, it's never transferred. The next assurance on the list was the legal language in the contract is the majority of South Garden Avenue. So if you draw a line heading north and south down the direct middle of that 60-yard portion we're discussing of South Garden Avenue, and it says a majority, so I don't know what's a majority. If you go 2 inches over, if you go 2 inches east, 3 feet, whatever it is. So from that middle of that Garden Avenue all the way to Fort Harrison has to be an open and accessible park space open from all 4 sides. The majority of Garden all the way to Fort Harrison. That's where it changes from 2017. The park was a lot smaller. This contract and assurance mandated from the majority of Garden had to become a park and the whole way across. The park must be open and accessible, public space on all 4 sides. I did make sure that we understand what does open and accessible to the public mean. There's other parks downtown, and some don't feel that those are open and accessible to all. And what does that mean? This is identified as an open and accessible park. We'll have to make sure that we hold them accountable going forward, that it remains open and accessible if this vote does pass with the numbers. The other thing on a site plan that mandated was the only other thing that could be built on the remaining portion of that developable land is a performing arts sign. The Performing Arts Center is 3 to 4 stories with a covered entrance. Nothing else can be built there. They can decide, okay, we're going to put a 75-story tower for, residential. It has to be according to the site plan, according to this contract, open and accessible park space, and your Performing Arts Center. The Performing Arts Center, according to your site plan, must and can only face the western direction. So the front door and the building orientation must face the west, so face towards the water, towards Fort Harrison. There's no signage on the Court Street side. Signage can only be on the front westward facing side of the building. No signage on Court Street. Must be landscaping down the side of Court Street and down the side of the building.
Yeah, I will be on their 15th.
And that's the level of assurances are on that. I can't speak to the other council members on what their levels of assurances were. I do know that some wanted extra additions of activations of other buildings, wanted to make sure there was a tenant or an occupancy license issued for some other buildings.
Yeah.
Somebody
How about
wanted
all
a
of
family
them?
fun zone open. I don't know timeframes how that would work out. I asked, can we mandate that this, or can they put in writing that this park and performing arts center remain taxable and remain on the tax rolls? I don't believe that will. I can't speak for that. I think what was rebutted to me was Ruth Eckerd Hall, Mahaffey Theater. They're all formed under nonprofits. They're not taxed. So I don't believe this would. That was an assurance. There's a handful that I requested we didn't get. And that's where we're at. Your final vote will be May 15th. May 15th will be the final vote. I do want to say that, we get a lot of engagement, and it is refreshing. Although sometimes it gets off the rails a little bit, but it's refreshing in a sense, because if we truly all identify that we need to change this fractured 50-year relation downtown, and it doesn't mean we need to have a best buddy system. It means we need to truly have some sort of working professional relationship or partnership where we work together when we can, and as a city, we work around them when we can. But when a group, it doesn't matter who the group is, owns such a large footprint of real estate, they're not going anywhere. Yeah, you have no options. We have to, right? And some.
Why are they only talking publicly about one proposal instead of both proposals they have? Because they don't care about the other proposal. The other proposal is a nuisance that is getting in the way of them actually just getting on with it, becoming partners with Scientology, for God's sakes. They are going to activate our entire downtown, aren't they? They won't put it in writing, but I'm sure they're going to come through this time. They're our partners, for God's sakes. No, I don't buy this because only one side is paying them. I don't think they need to be paid. I think they're just considering themselves heroes for actually getting something done. Oh my God, we don't want to kick this can down the road again. I think they actually do believe Scientology is going to come through. And I tell you, if I have a, really nice seat in the movie theater and they've got tasty popcorn and I'm enjoying a film, I could say, Miscavige, I'm sorry that I misjudged you. You are a great leader. And thank you for not putting up my poster at the box office. So, they're barred from selling me a ticket. God bless you, sir. God bless you. You don't think Miscavige is sweetening the deal privately? I don't think so. I'm just too much of a choir boy to think the worst of people. It's so, I mean, it's so dangerous, taking money out of the table from anybody, especially from Scientology. God. Mark, you said they have to take the biggest offer, did you not? Not necessarily, although that generally is how it's done. But like when Scientology wanted that piece of property back in 2017, the aquarium sold it to the city for market value, where Scientology was selling it for much more. When we made a deal for the 400 apartment complex on the Bluffs, we had special negotiations there where if we had sent out this like a normal piece of property, it would have to go to the highest bidder. But we did, and I forget exactly. We put a bunch of bells and whistles on it so that it could only go toward a company that's not Scientology, essentially. It had to be from a developer who's had other major projects developing large apartment complexes. And it could only be sold then by that company to another equivalent developer down the road, 20, 30 years from now. If they wanted to sell it, they couldn't sell it to Scientology. We would have a say as the city in who it would be sold to. So we put a lot of safeguards into that deal on the bluff, because last thing we needed was Scientology to gobble it up at 4-6 times the market value, because their money would not help the city. Sure, we could use, that money, but not when it means that Scientology is going to just shut off another prime piece of property that should have really made a difference in renovating the downtown, bringing life back there. And I'm not on the dole either. Scientology's not handing me bags full of money. That's why Kelly, she's out there pushing this, So if you want to support me, Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, buy me a coffee. All of those are out there for you. Don't have to put anything in a paper bag and slip it to me. Yeah, look at all those above board ways you could help keep Xeno TV going here. All right. I think Mike Manino has more to say here. And, it shouldn't be too much longer before I start yapping in the video.
Suggest the options are do nothing, right? It's a viable argument. Some suggest they'd rather see properties stay barren and dead. You talk to a lot of the downtown.
No one is saying we want to see property barren and dead. No one wants to see empty buildings. We just don't trust Scientology. The people who secretly bought up all of the property, with Miscavige telling everyone, I have no connection to this. I don't know who owns these properties. As parishioners, I guess, own somebody. And then now comes out and says, yeah, this was my idea. I asked all the parishioners to buy up these properties so we could redevelop the downtown. Well, if you're basing everything, as you always do, on lies, it's rather difficult to actually believe what you tell us. And when you're not acting like a partner to the city, it's kind of hard for us to accept the fact that you and we need to be partners, because partners don't treat each other this way. You lousy, stinking rat bastard.
Businesses, I have received. Emily's has supported it. Kathy, who owns the whole 400 block on the north side, has submitted a letter of support. Totally supports the project. Downtown Pizza supports the project. Tequila supports the project. Chiang Mai supports the project. Marriott Residence Inn supports the project. Clearwater Marine Aquarium supports the project moving through. But there's just as many, if not more, that are opposed to it. And rightfully so. So again, we're all coming from a very similar place, right? And the similarities are, how do we protect our downtown? How do we move it forward through development and activation for our entire community, not just for an institution? And what does that look like? And that's where the conversation again splits, and you have different strategies on how to accomplish that. And rightfully so. Again, I share I share the same frustrations. I share the same doubt as so many others do. It's hard because it doesn't matter if, you know, if it's a bowling team that Mr. Bunker and I are on together, or if we're painting houses together.
By the way, we've done neither. Just want to get that out there. No bowling league and no house painting.
If there is fractured trust or no trust, it's going to be near impossible to do even the littlest thing. So I think my feeling is you have to somehow find little wins for the city of Clearwater, for the citizens of Clearwater, little wins that it's acceptable, and the church considers it somewhat of a win too. And you slowly start putting those building blocks together to try to move our downtown district forward. And
wait a minute. Yeah, this is a win for Scientology. How do you consider this a win for Clearwater? Letting them have a city street, a block of a city street, and letting them put up a tribute park to L. Ron Hubbard with all the precepts from the Way to Happiness, open for the public. Come and marvel at what a wonderful man L. Ron Hubbard is. Oh, and then, you know, look at the hall here. He must be a great man. L. Ron Hubbard has a whole majestic hall to him. Oh, and look at this. He says, don't murder anybody. Oh, what a great guy. Oh, yeah. That's a plus for the city of Clearwater. But yeah, okay. They get something. We get another ding to our reputation, where right there on, you know, he was complaining about the look of the old Tequila's Mexican restaurant, that, oh, it's just an eyesore. Oh, we don't want people seeing something like that on the way to the beach. No, we want them to see a majestic L. Ron Hubbard Hall with a beautiful park that they'll be kicked out of if they say anything negative about Hubbard. God bless America. But it's a win-win.
as of right now, we haven't tried that. This is an option. Again, the rug could be pulled out from under us. That nothing
Yes.
could happen, right?
Yeah.
And that is okay. This isn't the perfect deal. There is no perfect deal in this. I'm not trying to describe to you that this is a no-brainer, got to be done, because I'm as split as the next person is on this and what it looks like to move forward. I often, tell people I feel like we're in a marriage, a relationship, and I keep trying to force my wife to go to dinner with me or go to see a movie. And I mean it, and I truly have my best foot forward, and I mean it. And by the end of the darn movie, we get in a fight and we go home and nothing's changed. We're back at the same.
I was really worried about the poor guy's marriage after this story. What? You're fighting over a movie, and what? Okay, all right. That's a perfect analogy for Scientology in Clearwater.
We need some sort of counseling, right? We need to heal. We both need to heal, and to heal, it takes two willing parties, right? It takes two willing parties. I don't know. Actions speak louder than words. I can't speak for the Church of Scientology. I don't know if, as we stand today, if we truly have two willing parties. I don't know. I believe we have one. We'll find out if we have another. And it takes a level of accountability, right? Accountability to say, I can be better. I've screwed up in this path too. As a city, we're to blame for some of this stuff too in our downtown district.
Oh yeah, Clearwater's to blame. Hey, pretty sure no public are going to be allowed into Oogle LRH. Well, I tell you what, I bet you the council will be invited to come and cut the ribbon. I bet you Ryan Cotton will be able to give a big welcome address as the place is opened up. And, we're so happy to have you here. Hip, hip, hooray. So there'll be some people allowed in. And again, and Mike's going to mention this later in here as well. They're not really going to turn it into a concert hall, competing with our other venues downtown, but they are going to make it available to other groups, to Safe Point Scientology. Now they have all of these events over at the Fort Harrison. And I was just reading a press release from Scientology about one just the other day, that they had all these groups meeting together at the Fort Harrison to teach all of these different nonprofits how to raise money, something like that. And they'll have fashion shows with people, local celebrities, like I won't say like the mayor's wife, but that's what they're hoping for. They're always hoping to have somebody, some politicians, family involved in this. And then they take pictures and parade those in their magazines. Oh, look who is at the fashion. Oh my God, they're strutting up and down the ramp. So it's going to be opened up constantly to groups, to Safe Point Scientology. And then, 4 times a year, Miscavige won't have to travel far to do his L. Ron Hubbard birthday event or whatever wacky thing they decide to do there that particular quarter. Since 2 years before they bought Fort Harrison, they have been only engaging when they can get a 100% win. 100% win. Change now? Think not. I like the way you talk, Yoda. Someone's mom. Where are the 4,000 people per week they say will go to the venue? Where are the 4,000 people per week they say will go to the venue going to park? They need 1,300 new spots by any calculation. They do have a large parking lot there for Scientology, right next to where the venue is going to be. Will they need 4,000 parking spots? Probably not. I mean, but we have the same problem if people want to come down to a concert at the outdoor amphitheater or at the Capitol Theater. There's very few places to park. It is an abusive relationship our city is in. So sad. I hope it's not as bad as Mannino's marriage, though. I'm a little concerned. Wait, someone's mom says. I missed the part about DM being a willing party. He is willing to party. Curling my lip in disgust like Elvis. Never knew I could, LOL. Now work on swinging the chin. Someone's mom says they couldn't even let you sit in their park, Mark. No, they can't. Wherever they put a park, I will not be able to sit in it. And that's not just me. It's anyone who is critical of Scientology. This public park will suddenly be off limits to them. But it's a public park. Oh, yeah, this is this disgusting thing. I was really sickened to hear him say this. I have all the local schools do their graduations there. Really? We want to do that. We want to drive them into the L. Ron Hubbard Hall. That's what the city's goal is now. I will have to say this, though. One of the things that we had hoped for when we opened the amphitheater is that this would be a place where the schools could come and do the graduation ceremonies. But then we gave the amphitheater over to Ruth Eckert Hall, and they want to charge tens of thousands of dollars to use it. I'm glad you noticed this. Cult of Scientology. This is driving me nuts. There it is. It was right there. WBM, your fire alarm is chirping. Probably just needs a battery, bud. Well, let me tell you. There was a pounding on my door this morning, very early. And when I say early, like 9 is early for me because I didn't get to sleep till about 7. And people came in to say, "Oh, we gotta do some stuff in here. We gotta put in some new outlets." They came and switched out some of the outlets in the kitchen here, and then they went and switched out this this fire detector, and they left, and this thing goes off every 35 seconds. And it's driving me insane. And I timed it. I took my phone out, did the stopwatch thing. It's just a few milliseconds short of 35 seconds. And I went down to the office and I said, "Okay, I'm listening here. For some reason, you don't have a chirp going off every 35 seconds, but I do. What the hell's going on?" And they said, "Oh, sir, you got to live with it for a couple of weeks." Oh, and here's what the guy said when I come, they left my apartment after annoying me like this. And I ran out in the hall to find them at the next apartment. Said that this thing is chirping. It's driving me insane. What can you do about this? And nothing. No, it's going to do that. And then the fire inspector is going to come. Like after the 16th. And once they inspect it, then you can just take the battery out. Really? For one, I have to live with this for another week or more. And then you're just telling me to break the law, break the rules, and just take out the battery? That's when I went down there to the office and said, "What? And they said, I'll just have to wait until the inspector goes through." And for this, they raised my rent again, another $100. So they just raised it $75 this month. And as soon as I paid my rent, I opened my door to go out, and a letter fell down saying, "Oh, it's going to be another $100 next month." And everyone's kind of concerned here. It's a 55 plus place where we're all living on the edge, and they're going, "It's got to be against the law. They can't possibly raise it on a whim like that." And then you do a search for Florida rent, and yeah, they can. There's no law to protect us. They can raise the rent anytime they want to any amount. Nothing you can do about it. It's not just once a year, and there's no cap on it. They decide, "We don't like you complaining about the chirping. That's going to be another $100. They could do it. Anyway, it's my rant, because I got to tell you, this has got me boiling, and I'm a sweet guy. You can tell. I'm nothing. You guys, a Scientologist coming up to me and saying horrible things to me doesn't bother me one bit. Chirp every 35 seconds. Oh, anyway, actually ran out to the garage to find the battery. LOL. Thinking it. Thought it was one of her fire alarms chirping. Sickening that there's no rent laws there. Yep. A voice down under trying to calm me down, saying, "Hey, Bunky," with a couple of hearts, a couple of blue hearts. Thank you. I appreciate it. If you rent here, a landlord can only raise the rent 2.3% per year because you live in Canada, and that's a rational country which cares about the people who are citizens. If you live in Florida, it's Mad Max. You know, property owners have great leeway in doing anything that they want, which is why we're having so much trouble dealing with Scientology, leaving empty buildings sitting around year after year after year. YouTube watcher Mark, you don't always need to be Midwest nice. Plus, you need a working smoke detector. We want to see you tomorrow, next week, and next year. Well, I'm not so sure at this point. I may have had enough. I don't know if I can make it another week or another year. Oh. But I'll give it my best. California Ma, I'm assuming. So glad someone finally mentioned the smoke detector. I got up and checked both of mine twice and kept stopping the video to try and hear which one it was. Creating chaos all across Tegac, I see. How about that? Hey, we were talking about Scientology before I got off onto my venting crusade. But I could do these streams down in Costa Rica, don't you think? I can go down there where my brother lives. My brother and his wife have a nice house in the hills, $400 a month. What am I doing here? Voice down under is talking to Haggis Basher. F Scientology. I can understand that. I can. All right. Let's get back to Mike, who's I'm sure going to calm my nerves. Here we go.
I mean, way back, some of us that have been here for a while. Sunshine Mall. Remember Sunshine Mall? Yeah. So I used to do all my school shopping at Sunshine Mall. We moved Sunshine Mall and built it away from a downtown core, away from the downtown center, and pulled a lot of people away. You then turned around and built a beautiful Ruth Eckerd Hall Performing Center. I don't think we could have picked a further place in Clearwater. It's as far away as we could. We then thought spring training is going to be amazing in Clearwater, and we built a ballpark. You didn't build it downtown. We built it down somewhere else, and not even near the other darn two, right? We then decided that a Clearwater Marine Aquarium would be the thing. We didn't put it downtown. We put it on a residential neighborhood, right? We've done these things to ourselves as well, but we have to be accountable for them. We have to find a way to find out, do we have two parties willing to try to move forward, built on a complete fractured lack of trust, frustration.
Mike was talking at the Clearwater Neighborhood Coalition, which is kind of an overseeing group where representatives from all the neighborhood communities. Each neighborhood, not every neighborhood, but most neighborhoods have their own little neighborhood committee. And this is kind of like a collective. Let's all get together and we'll speak for you, and we'll go to the city and we'll do all these things for you. So that's the CNC. And they hold that here in one of the Clearwater fire stations, which is where actually they have a burn center, not what you'd think as an emergency burn center, but they have like a tower, apartment tower that they set on fire constantly, and it's a training facility. And I actually got to go there and experience it. Because once a year they do this thing where local officials and people in the media can kind of get a taste of what it's like to be a firefighter. So, I put on all the gear, and just wearing their uniform is unbelievably heavy and difficult to move around in. And then you got an axe, or you got the jaws of life, especially. It's just insane. And then in this tower, they put an artificial fire in there, so there's smoke and you can't see a thing, and you're going through with a fire hose, and I think it's my night vision that made it extra difficult for me, because I literally could not see a thing. I was completely blind. Just and there was a row of us holding onto a hose, so you know. But that was very creepy, not being able to see a damn thing. Anyway, yes, the CNC, they were notified weeks ago about the city council vote. Interestingly, there was no response. Hagus Basher, are Manino and Cotton involved with any charities, and have they suddenly received large donations? I don't know that, but I would think both of them are. Manino's got a little bit of pressure put on him by there's one gadfly, Mr. Haluba. If you watch any of our council meetings, Mr. Haluba for years has been a thorn in whoever is mayor. And he's been bringing up some comments that Mike Mannino made during the campaign, where he was saying, my charity has given away X amount of money. And Haluba's going, I called those places and they said, no, they haven't gotten anything from you. So he's making a big deal about that. I don't know, what the story is actually, but someone's mom says Tampa, Port Tampa, Ybor City, Winter Garden, Sanford, Winter Park, Hyde Park, DeBerry, all across Florida. These towns have thriving downtown areas where they were empty in the late 70s. It's possible. Yeah, and that's the case. Every city had downtown flight in the 70s. That's when malls were big, and so downtowns were decimated. Certainly my downtown in Oshkosh, Wisconsin was one of those. But all of these other places bounced back. Not Clearwater. That's something that doesn't get answered. A voice down under says, my stepsister is a firefighter. She's only little, but she can carry a double mattress up a ladder with all the gear on. She is incredible. That sounds incredible. I tell you, I couldn't do that. Boom. So pretty much everything he says is BS. Kelly, why would you say that about me? Kelly. Good God. The Pinellas Sheriff's Police Athletic League, PAL, in Leomin gets sponsorship from Scientology's Clearwater Community Volunteers. Cotton works for Leomin Fire Department. How about that? Okay. I can see it. Yeah, you laugh now, you traitor. Everybody, don't be hard on Kelly just because she's nasty to me from time to time. I forgive her. She works hard. She, I get testy. She can get testy too. Hey. All right. Hey, let's have some fun and listen to more Mike Manino.
Borderline anger. I get it. The question is, but now what? Right? But now what?
Now what?
And that's where we are. But now what? And we'll find out this contract, if approved, and we have no idea. I mean, I don't even know which way. I can't stand before you and tell you which way my vote's going to go, because this is why I'm going out listening to citizens and speaking to them, because I'm with so many of you. But we need to find out, is there two willing partners? And this is a way to find out on a low risk, possible high reward on moving our city forward through development and activation for the entirety. Again, it's not the greatest deal. It's not the best deal. I'm not standing before you. I again share in your frustrations. I share in your lack of trust. And the only way we can try to move forward is binding contractual obligations and truly hold the other party accountable for mistakes or for misguiding or misleading. Hold each other accountable And what I can promise you is, as an elected official on the dais, I'm going to keep talking about. I'm going to keep getting around in our neighborhoods, and uncomfortable as this may be for me or for any of you sitting out there, I think it's the only way. Having deep, challenging discussions is the only way to make change. It's the only way to try to move things forward. And believe me, I'm a realist. We may get to a place and say, this emotional wound in our city is not healable. A show of hands. You don't have to speak out. Raise your hand if you think the emotional wound between our city of Clearwater and the Church of Scientology is healable. Is healable. Is healable. Right?
Sure.
It's not all of us, right? The handful of us that don't believe. They believe this path that we paved is so fractured and so broken that it's not repairable.
I wonder why.
And that's the reality of early on. This decision is not easy on any of our council members. This process has not been easy on any of our staff. But we're going to keep talking about it. We're going to keep pushing those challenging discussions. At the end of the day, we have to find a way to make a best decision.
I don't know how many hands actually went up. I had my face on into the camera, making sure I was on him. I couldn't turn around and get footage of all of them. So I'm assuming that there were mixed signals there from the audience. And I apologize for not being the reporter that I should be. I should have been on top of that. I just thought no one would ask me tonight. I'll get away with this. Just like, council members think, I'll vote for Scientology to take over the downtown. No one will notice. No, I got caught. And who called me out on it? Kelly, of course. Kelly, hard on me. She's always hard on me. And I got a chirp. All right. It's a moot point, but this wouldn't be going on right now if you were on the city council board. That's true. There would be 3 votes against this. There would be. This would be all over. And we could still talk to Scientology about, hey, why don't you activate the damn buildings? If you want to build a L. Ron Hubbard Hall, we probably can't stop you, but you're not getting our road. You bastards. Mike says, I think this time it will be different. I don't trust Scientology, but we will make a deal with them anyway. You got to. You just got to take that leap. It's a leap of quasi-faith. It's a leap of cult. Show me the part in the LRH policies where it says compromise. That's a good comment. Yeah, okay. Finally, Kelly's feeling the guilt. Don't pile on her, though. For God's sakes. Cult of Scientology says next iteration of Scientology will be interesting post Miscavige. Oh, I'm hoping like, maybe be like the Pope this time, where a puff of smoke will go up and they have elected me to take control of Scientology, and then reforms everywhere. The golden age of Scientology. They just tried to make Mark sit in the corner again. Well, that's only the Downtown Development Board. They made me sit in the corner. The council, I got to sit up there with the big boys and girls. Sometimes I'm not sure they'd be wrong. I'm lost here. I've been babbling so much. I'm not exactly what you're referring to. He needs to wipe the Scientology Kool-Aid off his face. Mike, I believe you're referring to there. Isn't it true that there is a basic LRH policy that If it isn't written, then it isn't true. Activation promises are not in writing. So activation is an empty promise. It's worse than an empty promise. It's a bald-faced lie. And the fact that Miscavige is saying, oh, we want a thriving downtown. No, you don't. You chased away the aquarium when we tried to put part of the aquarium downtown because you don't want people in your backyard. I don't understand why it is not an option to leave it as a public street. Well, YouTube watcher, the only reason there's not an option is because Scientology wants it. And the council is willing to give it to them. Otherwise, it would remain a public street. And it could easily remain a public street. The hall could be built. The park could be built. You just have to, have a crosswalk between the hall and the park. And life would be sweet. And people can still drive down it. It's still a part of the city. Hey, Mike's got more to say, I'm sure. Look at that. We're only halfway done because of stopping and babbling.
For finding ways to develop and activate downtown for the entire, and we're optimistic because this deal could go away and nothing happen, and we're still hopeful and optimistic for downtown. This isn't the end all be all. Again, that beautiful Gotham property and Mr. Bunker and other elected officials worked really hard on getting that done, and they put together an amazing deal with a lot of assurances that protect our city and the citizens, taxpayers. That's going to be a beautiful property with a beer garden, and your 420 plus unit condo built on the old city hall with the Michelin style restaurant.
And Michelin restaurant. That's true. Not 420 condos. It's 420 apartments, which was specified. We would only allow a developer to put in apartments because we did not want Scientologists buying up all the condos and leaving them empty, except when they fly in to do their auditing, or if they want to sublet it illegally to somebody else who's flying in to do OT8. So, that was one of the restrictions. And we had plenty of them to try to keep it out of the hands of Scientology. So there's the apartments. There's also the beer garden he mentioned, and a hotel, and lots of retail. And there's going to be, the county is moving from all their buildings downtown, and they're going to be building their own countywide properties in another place. So they're making sure that all of those county properties are available to the city of Clearwater to develop and not get into Scientology's hands. So we were developing downtown despite Scientology, instead of, hey, let's be partners. No, you bastards are screwing us over. Why should we trust you when you're lying to us? Oh no, who's buying all these? Hey, I have no idea. Oh, it was me. It was me. I admit it now. Yeah, it was my plan. I told them all to buy these properties so we could do this. We could own the downtown. Ain't I smart? Oh, God. I don't know. Who's the chef of the Michelin restaurant? I have no idea what restaurant's going to be in there. Probably nobody does yet. But the developer is saying, "Oh, we got somebody." They may have already got the business lined up for it, but they haven't even broken ground yet on building these apartments and condos, and I'm not condos, but retail and hotel and all the other stuff. And I'm incredibly worried the way the economy is now, how this whole tariff thing is going to just throw a monkey wrench into the downtown development there. Only Scientology can afford to pay the excessive prices to not build anything downtown. Where will the beer garden be? It's going to be, I think, attached to the hotel, not to the apartment complex. There's bottom floor retail in both the apartments and the hotel, and there's going to be restaurant and all sorts of other stuff that'll be going there. Exactly, says Clearwater Patriot. The city can revitalize and activate without them. But, you know, if Scientology wants to activate something, again, if Slappy wants to make that nightclub with Tom Cruise, if he wants to put up that movie theater, I welcome it. I'm not standing in the way of that. I just don't trust him, because certainly Cruise and Miscavige have every ability to do that. They're OT, after all. They could have done that at any time to say, I'm proud to be a Clearwater resident. I love this city. I want to make it better. But do they? Hard to think they do, the way they treat us. Better not be Gordon Ramsay. Pasta Queen? Okay. Hey, where'd Mike go? There he is. I think we're getting to me soon.
On downstairs, that's residents living feet in the streets all day, every day. That's not short-term rentals. Those aren't people just coming to visit. That's going to change the dynamic that we.
This is an important question right here. Why do people call Dave Slappy? I have an idea, but I want to see if I'm correct. LOL. People call him Slappy. I don't know how many people do. I do, because I started calling him Slappy when the stories came out in the Tampa Bay Times about Miscavige savagely beating underlings. And, you know, I got to meet some of these folks, like, well, Mike Rinder was beat, and Jefferson Hawkins, he sat down, did an interview with me talking about how Miscavige lunged across the table to grab him by the throat, and that's when I started calling him Slappy, and I tried to make that name stick, and I'd like to think that it has. I still throw it out there. Slappy. Mm-hmm. What person would want to go to a Scientology nightclub after the Danny Masterson situation? Well, probably Scientologists. And then there's laughter, which I'm hoping is all about Slappy. Haggis, true, and could you do an 8-minute extended dance remix to We Stand Tall? And a voice down there says, okay, yes, that's what I thought. Many of the old school protesters call him that. I appreciate you recognize the importance of the question. Oh God, there's no unimportant question here unless I'm asking it. But especially if it's something that I had a hand in, I'm happy to stand up and say, hey, that was me. I called him Slappy first. Hey. Dang, almost burned my dinner. Thought the timer was Mark's smoke detector. I'm sorry about that. It's every 35 seconds. Just beware now. Be aware of that. I gotta go, YouTube watchers. Nice to have you here. I hope that smoke detector is not in your bedroom. Oh, I can hear it in there. I can hear it everywhere. I had one going off for days. I was thankful that at least they closed the door to partially muffle it, fix the fire detector. Yeah, you know, it's even worse. This place has alarms that go off all the time. It hasn't happened much recently, but it happened today. And they have these really horribly piercing fire alarms that you can't turn off when they're going. And they go on and on and on. It's all false alarms. And there'll be times when it's constant, middle of the night, but it doesn't matter. It just will drive you nuts. Lordy. Okay. Can't I just change the battery? I don't think it's a dead battery because it's a brand new smoke detector they put up there. You know, they just said, here you go. And I told them about it. And they just said, pull the battery out after the inspector comes. I could pull it out now. I could, just like I've done in the past. Good night, YouTube watcher. Hey, why do we keep ignoring Mike? Mike's working hard here.
So great. We need downtown having residential. And then your 16.2 acres of the county buildings in the footprint, we're in discussions every day with the county, ensuring that we sit at the table with the county and making sure that we're a big part in the decision-making process of where those 16.2 acres, how it's developed and where. But we're very hopeful that that's a generational changing palette. 16.2 acres at the base of a bridge overlooking the water, connected to the most beautiful beach in the world. So be hopeful and be optimistic whether this deal gets approved or not. I appreciate your patience and for listening. I can take a couple questions if I don't have the.
Okay, we're about to get to me, but I had to answer this. Kelly says I would take out the battery now and put it back on the 16th. I tell you, I just got burned doing something like that because I had no air conditioning for like 3 weeks. And I've got a fan that is so loud. And when the air conditioning wasn't working, I think, why am I paying to have this annoying loud fan going on? So I turned it off. And then the next morning, the guy comes to look at it and he says, well, it's not turned on. Well, it's blowing cold. It's fine. I said, no, it's not. It's not working. Trust me, it's 86 degrees and it's miserable. Oh, no, it'll be fine. It just, okay. And then he went down to the office. Oh, he told me, oh, somebody will check it tomorrow. And he went down to the office and told the office, it's working. So they closed out the work order. So it was another weekend with no air conditioning. So I'm a little, boy, I'm thrilled to be living here. Okay, here we go. Good night again to you. And come on. Mike, will you just let me talk? I just have a few things I want to say, Mike. And I was easy on him. I got to tell you. Mike got off easy from me.
Answer. We'll work with staff to get you those answers. Yes, sir.
I would point out, as far as the aquarium goes, the aquarium was going to move part of it downtown back in 2017, which would have been the biggest change downtown that would have made a huge difference. Who stopped it? David Miscavige. He didn't want it in his backyard. He killed that project. And then when the aquarium refused to sell that piece of property to Miscavige, he went radio silent, bought up all of these other buildings that he's let sit empty for all of these years. So, that's why there's a little distrust on, dealing with Miscavige. Now, in the meetings, there was discussion of the fact that Miscavige didn't want to put some commitments into writing.
Right.
He showed you this videotape of how beautiful he's going to make the downtown and how he and Tom Cruise are going to put up a movie theater and entertainment complex. But he hasn't put anything in writing as a commitment. Is that correct?
No, but yes, parts are correct. They did release. It's on. What is that? Cleveland Street, Alliance. It did release the video. It does show all that. Is that in writing? That's arguable, Mark. I got you on that. The way you find out if it's in writing or not is you see if building permits have been pulled. Building permits have been pulled all through 600 block. They are currently under construction there. Those 3 historic buildings are
Yeah,
currently
those-
under construction.
Sure.
Is a
The other
family
stuff is
entertainment
common.
center, and that's not part of the plans as of right now. Does it happen?
Yeah.
I have no idea. Your guess is as good as mine. Is it in writing? No. Is it part of the video that we saw? Yes, but again, it's a video. I don't put much faith in a video. It looks pretty. Disney World looks pretty. It's about activation. Then develop and activate, and you do that contractually through building plans.
And specifically to Garden Avenue, there are assurances that are written in the contract.
Everything I discussed
Sure.
was and so we don't take up everyone's time. Do you mind if I move on?
No, but yeah, go ahead.
And I'll come back to you. No, yes, sir. Okay.
Nice buildings are nice buildings, but that's not the whole activation. It seems like assuring that Clear Sky will be there for long term and that other restaurants near that corner would be there is probably more important than having something on Cleveland Street, because then it moves down the street rather than just it. Is there anything or is discussion about not just that the building is pretty and fancy, but there's Safety Harbor Dyke restaurants in them?
There has been discussions, but again, I don't necessarily think or know if the church is just deciding who they put in there. They're doing the construction, they're doing the redevelopment. They then put it on a listing like LoopNet. They have, I don't know what that company is on the paper, Highbridge or something. I can read the name. I think it's Highbridge. Is that who it is? That is one of the world-renowned marketing groups that goes and finds the type of business that may fit into that space and that style and what's neat for that current mix. So I think that's more where I don't think it necessarily pinpointed. As far as the longer term, I just had lunch at Downtown Pizza with Dan Mahoney, the new owner. He got a 6-year lease, and it's the same ownership group as Tequila's and Clear Sky. So I'm not sure how. I can't speak for Scott and Clear Sky Bor for Tequila's, but all of which are supportive of this project, as well as Chiang Mai, because there were discussions at one point that Chiang Mai was being held to the fire, not being an extended lease.
Let's take a moment to listen. No chirp. There it is. I took out the battery. Look, there it is. Chirp. Seems like a little longer than 35 seconds. I'm going to time it this time. See if it lasts a little bit longer without it. And I know this is a fun interactive moment in the video. Stopwatch. There we go. All right. I'm going to start it up. Where is there? Does that movie theater? Let's see. I got to go back and see what was written here. Reset. I was looking for that reset button. Didn't see it. I did find a button and I pushed it and it just went beep for as long as I was holding it. So I said, that's not it. There we go. Boom. Yeah. It's 34 seconds. I think I just needed a scissor and cut those wires, and then it'll probably just set off that major alarm. Okay. Well, I tried. Okay. Mike, just go ahead and tell us what you want to tell us.
And he's
Okay.
supportive of the deal. So I can't I can't speak to those private ownership deals. But I agree with you in theory. It definitely would help to have some long-term stability in those core businesses for us down there. And we will keep paita down there. Yes. Good point though. Yes, man. And next question.
Tom Cruise made an appearance to support.
No, I've not to my knowledge. I've never asked. I've never requested. I've never heard any.
Never did none of the meeting.
None of any discussion I've ever had has his name come up other than when Mr. Bunker just said it. Yeah. So I have no care or concern of if
It's Kiara.
yeah, no.
Is it supporting?
Chris, and now I'll come to you, Kathleen.
I'm not clear if my definition of a performing arts center applies here. However, if my understanding of a performing arts center is something that encompasses all the arts. However, I'm concerned about what is the impact going to be on our performing arts?
Yeah.
The Capitol Theater, Ruth Eckerd, the Sound, Baycare Sound. If this is a performing arts center, are they intend to bring in the same type of entertainment as those three venues?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I've been told no. They're not looking to book venues weekly, nightly on the same scale as Ruth Eckerd Hall or Capitol Theater does, or the Sound for that matter. I've been told it's open for nonprofit organizations, which they do now. I don't know how many take up that offer, but they do offer organizations, nonprofits, to use their services, to use their facilities for free. I think they would continue to do that. And they do performances and plays and dinners, because it's not just a performing arts center. From what I've seen on a rendering, the floor has ability to remove and set tables and be more of a dining, reception, gala, as well as remove them seating and have a performing arts center. One of my requests was, can we make sure that every high school graduation in the area, if they wanted to, had the ability to graduate for free? They did tell me that their concern was, what does that do to Ruth Eckerd? And I said, you can make a donation to Ruth Eckerd Hall every time somebody takes you up on the offer. I don't know if that'll happen. I drew that out there, but again, one of those assurances. But from what I hear, they are playing nicely in completely different fields of mastery, if that's very safe. Yes, Kathy.
What is some other suggestion for the property somewhere down there? Because I'm not very good with directions, to be honest with you. For an African American memorial, because and a garden to go with, just because they too helped build this city, and so to recognize what they did. What about that?
100%. That proposal is the second proposal. It came in an hour before we did our second reading. Council stepped back. We let staff have time. It was at the time proposed as the Mac Dixon Memorial to honor the African American heritage on that, especially for Mac Dixon. Within 24 hours later, what we found out was Mac Dixon's family found out about it via watching our council meeting and was completely upset and felt disrespected that they were not even communicated with, yet alone a part of the process. So they've retooled that and kind of shifted the scope of the proposal to more of not just trying to honor the African American heritage, but to honor.
Yeah, those horrible people at the Garden Avenue project, Save Garden Avenue. I mean, what terrible monsters they are. Good God. And you thought they were, sweet people trying to honor the African American community. No. Boo. Throw cans at them. Throw rocks.
More on a historical sense, regardless of race, right? We've heard from, I think, 4 African American Urban Coalition, the 3 C's Society, and there's a couple more that are not supporting the Save the Garden. It is Save the Garden, and feel free to visit it. I'm not talking about it because I'm not. SaveTheGarden.org. Write it down. Feel free to take a peek at it. There are several of our African American community leaders that aren't in favor of it. They're fighting for their own memorializations in their own certain places in the MLK neighborhood. And actually, many of them tell me is the problem with the original proposal of honoring the African American history is, from what they tell me, not from me telling you as a historian, is that at the time through segregation, African Americans weren't allowed downtown, yet alone North Garden was the historical soul of our African American community, not South Garden where we're at, North Garden. In fact, there was almost a dividing line of the railroad tracks on the other side of Drew Street. So,
and by the way, there can be tribute on Garden Avenue and elsewhere in the community as well, paying tribute to the African American community here in town. And I tell you, there were major things that were happening when I was on the council. Good, as we did approve a CRA district to revive the North Greenwood area. North Greenwood, as we found out from old newspapers and from a story that happened when I was on the council, it was revealed that we have one of these forgotten African American cemeteries in town, and the city had for a while owned the property where this church had once been and the cemetery had been. And they were told, well, all the bodies have been moved. And that wasn't the case. And the city sold that property to one of the big businesses downtown. And then it was discovered that there were, people, remains buried under their parking lot, under their building, and under the street that we all drive over. And this was, a horrifying thing for us to discover and have to deal with. And 60 Minutes came here and did a piece on it. This is not unusual because there's the same situation that's happened in Tampa and in other cities as well. But it is, horrifying and something that we need to face. The problem is it's going to take millions and millions and millions of dollars to deal with this. And we hired a really top firm who deals with this tender issue, does a great job of finding, where the sites are, doing research on who possibly is there. And they presented a lengthy report to the city. And we had to vote on this on the council. And I was incredibly moved to hear the stories of the people who they believed were in some of these graves. And the newspaper articles from the time that they published showed that the council, the Clearwater Council at that time, had wanted to cut off the Black community. So they made a dead end of the street. So there would not be business going through the district. And that was the beginning of the real downfall of a very thriving Black business district. And I felt we owe it them to do this right. And I got to tell you, I was like the lone voice on this. And they actually sat me down with not just the city manager, but then other people came into the office and meeting with me and said, Mark, Mark, is going to cost millions of dollars. We could find some other way to pay a tribute, put up a monument to, And I never felt comfortable about that at all. And that's something that the city still hasn't really reckoned with. They're still, in lawsuits between, the company that bought the property from the city. They're saying is, hey, you didn't tell us about this. You're responsible, city. So they're suing the city, and the city wants them to be sued. So, it's going to help with insurance or whatever. It's a nightmare, but I mean, it's shameful that we're not doing more. And one of the things that I missed being off the council now is to continue to help get that CRA up and running, and help that community. The one thing that they talked about that they wanted, which is something I was pushing for myself, was using shipping containers as stores, creating a mall with shipping containers. And I was fully behind that. There's one about an hour and a half away from here in Wesley Chapel. I went up there, took video of it, took pictures, brought it back. Said, this is, very popular, trendy place. This would be great. And I talked to business owners up there. They could start a business for like $1,500 a month. And it's a great way to start bringing a business district back. I don't mean to bore you to tears with all this stuff, but these are things that I was really concerned about. That shipping container mall, I think, is going to be opening later this year. So I'm thrilled about that. That's all. I'll leave it at that. But it doesn't hurt to have Save the Garden have their memorial there, and something over in North Greenwood as well. Okay, I'm coming back here to Mike. Let's hear more.
I don't
Mike.
know if history aligns in the same sit, but it was a second proposal. I don't know how that would work, because that's a proposal that's just putting a dollar amount wanting to buy. The road was never for sale. They came, they have the right, the legislative ability to request a vacation of a right of way to develop a property because they owned the two connecting to it. So to take a proposal of a vacation or right of way and now try to compare it with just a straight purchase of something that was never for sale, I know staff's going to render their opinion, and we'll see where it goes from there. But savethegarden.org, just so you don't think I'm blowing through that. Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to know if anybody's seen what the church plans to do with that whole area. If you haven't, I can show it to you.
Oh, yeah. We have
Actual image of what it looks like.
Yeah, and there's cards here too. Oh, you're talking about the garden.
The actual
All right.
garden, the Performing Arts Center, what they're gonna do, the park in front of it with the fountain, everything's really beautiful.
We have requested the video and presentation to be made before May 15th. I haven't seen they did release a video as George is saying, but that's more for the historic buildings downtown at the Clearwater Shadow Lions. Yeah, 400 corners, 600, and it doesn't touch on that garden Performing Arts Center. But hopefully at some point we do share for the public, because again, we need to keep bringing the public emotion, right? Anybody else? Yes, ma'am. I'll come back to you.
2 rooms want a garden. So why can't there be some kind of a compromise where a garden is the garden without selling the street? I've done it against Church Scientology. I have a lot of Scientology friends, but I have something against selling a city street. I just do. I don't feel good about it, and it will play a monopoly with streets. How much for my street? I want to buy my street. But I'm just wondering, it sounds like there's other groups that are interested in the garden too. So can we reach some kind of a compromise where there's going to be a garden there, they negotiate together? You still say the city street, but it has some amount of everybody gets a little piece of what they want. Like this is
Yeah.
a great opportunity for collaboration as far as I could see.
Yeah, I mean, not a bad point. If you ask the property owners of both adjacent properties,
Yeah.
they want to develop their property. The road is in the way. The overhang in the front door doesn't fit in the plans. This is what they planned since 2017. They're going to present a park with it. The assurance is the majority of that roadway all the way is going to be a park. So to have two competing forces of building parks, yeah. But I get what you're saying. And again, it was a vacation of a right-of-way request. This never.
Hey, how about this idea? How about Scientology says, you know what? We really like the idea of bringing in this tribute to the African American community in that neighborhood. So let's give a some of the property that is our big L. Ron Hubbard way to happiness. Let's live the model that L. Ron Hubbard had for us, and let's work with them, and we'll have both. We'll have a bigger park for them here. But no, stay away. We got 21 precepts. Come on, find your own place. We're buying this street. This is our street. We own Clearwater, for God's sakes. Who the hell do you think you are? Yep, there you go.
Initiated as we want to start selling our roadways, because that's not the case. Yes, ma'am.
So, is it considered a monopoly to own that much property downtown? And are they continuing?
You and I would probably define that, and the majority are in here.
Right.
And
So they want to continue to grow and get more and more of downtown.
I can't speak for. I don't speak for the church. But if you follow the path that we've traversed to get here, they buy real estate and they have a portfolio of real estate over $1 billion. I don't know when that stops. I don't know what else is even available down there right now. There's only the city, the county, the church, and Kathy. Is there any more?
No, there is no more. Scientology has gobbled up everything, including where City Hall now stands. The Scientologists own the building where City Hall is located, and thank God we're quickly building the City Hall that we got approved when I was on the council. That this council said, no, we can't waste money on that. But thank God we'll have a City Hall that Scientology can't buy. Maybe they can buy the council members, but they can't buy the building. And the monopoly, we're not concerned about Scientology being a monopoly. We're just concerned that they're buying the property and letting it rot, not doing anything with it. Oh, okay. Well, could you at least put in writing that you're going to make it look pretty the way you said you would? No, you can't do that. You can't be bothered to, do what you've been promising to do since 2017, even though we're giving you our precious street. Oh, okay. Well, I sure hope you come through for us, because it would be nice, wouldn't it? We're partners, right? Right?
And what Daniel sold, so I think we're down to only 4 property owners in our downtown district. And the county's on their way out, so that's going to leave 3. There's nothing. I don't believe there's any legislative laws that keeps any of the Girl Scouts or my Catholic Church from purchasing real estate and to stop them from that. Take one more.
I was just going to point out. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was going to point out that Scientology announced they were building an L. Ron Hubbard Hall here back in 1993. And they finally filed some paperwork around, I think, 2018, according to the St. Pete Times. And the initial designs, and you can see their earlier designs for the hall, Garden Street remained a working street at that point. It's only now that they've revamped it where they've come back and said, we want the street as well. Because you look at the earlier design of it, there's no valet parking. That's just a working street still there.
Yeah, it's probably not to argue with Zekas, but in 2017, and I have seen that plan and video as well. It does show a roadway, but if you in actual realistic terms, the park in front of it that it's connected to, that's not realistic. So they either moved and put a different road, or it's an unrealistic rendering, because the road is far closer that you're seeing in 2017. It's far closer to Fort Harrison than where South Garden sits as of today. But I don't know if that was a newly constructed to fit the building plans or if it sat there. But they do have an overhang that overhangs that existing road, and it does have a much smaller footprint of a park and a bigger performing arts center. The plans
It doesn't need to.
according to the new contract and site plan, puts a much bigger park with a little bit of a smaller footprint for the.
But it doesn't need to be that.
Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to make the point that you have to differentiate between people who happen to be Scientologists who invest in real estate in downtown and around the city. I mean,
I think that's fair.
as opposed to the church
Yeah.
owning the property.
Yeah, however, let's not forget, it was Miscavige who said, I asked all the parishioners to buy up all these properties with cash at 4 to 6 times the market value. So probably Miscavige provided the cash as well. Probably. Can't say that for sure, but I mean, who else? So what large collection of parishioners are just going to spend a fortune to buy property for the church and not get anything out of it other than, of course, they become operating thetans. But, it's silly to think that, oh yeah, these are just parishioners buying these properties. No, they weren't. Miscavige himself has now confessed, I asked them to do this so we could create a thriving downtown for our people. And then, they just sat on it. Simon, I don't know what you're talking about. I think you're hearing something. Smoke detector, battery chirp. What the heck? I think he's gone loco. You don't hear it, do you? The rest of you? Oh, here we go.
Property, and always the St. Pete Times attributes all the property owned by the church and the individual Scientologists as being Scientology property.
I think that's a fair statement, and I probably a year ago would have sat in your very seat and argued that. I think where I sit today, I would probably argue against you, and respectfully, and only because if that's true, right? If these are parishioners that do own properties, then why, when we sit in meetings, do we have a discussion about development? Is the church using those properties in a discussion about an entire development plan? So There is some control from the church over what those properties do and if they're developed. And that's evidenced by its having discussions that include those properties, right? Because those people aren't sitting at the table with us. Those people aren't on the phone with us, but their properties are included in a proposal of a development deal. So respectfully, I was with you, and now I think I have a little bit. So I'm not sure. Yeah.
Well, Ms. Cabbage did. Okay, I'm sorry.
Buildings that are being renovated downtown Cleveland. I thought it was a city of Clearwater and church combined
The church.
together, just the church alone.
The church owns those. Yeah.
Owns it. Okay, good.
The church owns those 3 historic buildings. Okay, I'm gonna run away to the back. I thank you so much. I thank you for being kind to me. Hey, thanks for chatting. And I forgot to thank our neighborhood staff that are here that work so hard and so late at night for so many different events. So you are appreciated. So thank you. Yeah, best says shout to my be spare. I'll hang out. I'm not running away yet.
All right. There you go. We made it through it. Good Lord. And now we can all head over and see what the Kelly Show has to tell us. I took a look at the link there for the Kelly Show. I did not see David Albritton in the station there, so I don't know if he called in or because I just kind of scanned through the video earlier. But Kelly was nice enough to put up the link to the Facebook video, and I'm not gonna, make us sit through that whole thing now because we just had this ordeal, 2 hours to get through this 40-minute video because I can't stop talking. I'm a gadfly. You get me going, and it's like I'm hunting mysterious chirps that don't exist, for God's sakes. What a waste. Anyway, I had fun. I hope you did as well. I'm glad that I was able to capture this piece of history and share it with you. I feel a little worried for Luke that he's hallucinating, but those things happen. It's nice and quiet here. In fact, I'm going to try to get some sleep. A nice, peaceful night of sleep with no chirps at all. It'll be fun. It'll be exciting. Thank you all for coming by. Kelly, of course, won't let you out the door. She puts her foot in the door there to just remind you, affordable membership packages for everyone's budget, starting at just $2.99 per month. Become a member today. You don't have to stop at $2.99 if you want to. You can even go up to the $100 package. We don't have one, but if you want to create one, that's okay with me. Anyway, I really appreciate you all dropping by. We had a quiet week last week. There wasn't much coming from Xenu TV because there were all sorts of other things happening. But I'm going to try to have more stuff ready for you to go for this week. And it was always a delight spending time with you. And I hope you feel the same. So I will say goodnight now and turn you back to your real world. And I'll stay here on TGIAC rather, and keep everything safe for the broadcast tomorrow. All right. Good night, everybody. Great to see you. Bye.
What are your crimes, Mark? Yes, what are your crimes, Mark? Your crimes are hidden, they should be seen. Spin all out, Mark, and just come clean.